Welcome to Facts for Real videos. There have been numerous outrageously grandiose mega project plans in the past. However, for some reason, a lot of them originate in Tokyo, a seismically active area where there are thousands of little and large earthquakes every year, each originating from a hexagonal structure. This skyscraper, which is double the height of the Burj Khalifa and is 4,000 meters tall and reminiscent of Mount Fuji, is a visionary structure. The difference in height would have been a full kilometer. Then the modern Mount Everest. We'll be examining 6 of the most absurd Tokyo mega projects and learning the reasons behind their initial proposal. With an estimated population of over 40 million, the Greater Tokyo area is home to over 30% of the country of Japan. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, more on that later. Tokyo's metropolitan area is the largest in the world. Nevertheless, to comprehend why this is the case, we must first examine the geography of Japan. The majority of Japan's territory is made up of mountains that are heavily forested. The most notable being Mount Fuji, which is only 100 kilometers away. The majority of the country's population is located in densely populated areas right away, wedged in between these low to medium-sized mountains southwest of the nation's capital. Following World War II, Japan witnessed a population and economic boom following the war. Nevertheless, by the turn of the 1950s, birth rates had begun to level out. The Japanese economic miracle, as it is now known, saw Japan's economy continue to expand, and as a result, despite declining fertility rates nationwide, the population of urban centers like Tokyo has continued to grow. Millions of Japanese people from the countryside began migrating to the city in search of better employment opportunities and living conditions. The population of Tokyo has recently started to decline for the first time. The city continues to be one of the world's most densely inhabited urban areas this year, with very little developable territory. It has been harder and harder to get housing. Tokyo has more than 160 skyscrapers taller than 100 meters because to its enormous population, which the city began to expand upwards to accommodate. The culmination of decades of tremendous economic growth is the Tokyo skyline. However, because it is situated at the intersection of 4 significant tectonic plates in the Pacific Ring of Fire, this upward development also comes with a unique set of issues. In truth, Japan is not unfamiliar with destructive earthquakes. With about 2,000 earthquakes every year, Japan is actually one of the most seismically active countries in the entire world. In addition, Japan is home to over 100 active volcanoes, including the famous Mount Fuji just outside of Tokyo, which last erupted 300 years ago. This raises the question of why Tokyo, of all places, there are so many of these mega projects planned. The Sky City 1000, a visionary idea revealed in 1989, is the first major project on this list. Although it may be the smallest mega project on our list, Sky City was a projected skyscraper that would have stood 1,000 meters tall. The Burj Khalifa in Dubai would have been surpassed by this structure, making it the highest structure in the world by up to 170 meters. Similar to other mega projects on this list, Sky City was put forth at the height of the Japanese asset price bubble, when stock and real estate values were greatly exaggerated relative to their true intrinsic values. As a result, many companies, including the Takanaka Corporation, who put forth this project, were overconfident in the success of their endeavors. The Sky City 1000 structure was intended to be made up of 14 disc-shaped aerial bases. The space plateaus that would be built on top of one another were designed with residential units that could accommodate more than 35,000 people along the edges, and a vast green area in the center of each base, replete with an artificial pond. Individual trains that would travel around each of the 14 plateaus were also part of the proposal. Back in 1989, when the project's announcement. By the turn of the 21st century, it had received a great deal of attention and exposure, not just in Japan but also in the rest of the world. Many people believed the gigantic project to be the skyscraper of the future, and it had even been built. The high-speed elevators that would have been utilized for the building were already being designed and tested at research labs when they made their way onto a Discovery Channel Extreme Engineering segment. Even fire simulations were done before to the building's construction using Tokyo's sole fire helicopter at the time. However, in spite of all the preparation, planning, and attention it received on a global scale, Sky City 1000's original plan was never carried out. In 1992, the Japanese asset price bubble broke. After then, the economy of the nation slowed down. That did not help. It would have taken decades to build the skyscraper. It would not have been feasible financially. At the time, if not impossible to pursue the SkyMile Tower, which is over 1,700 meters tall, comes next. That tower in the sky. If it had ever been finished, next Tokyo 2045, a new venture, would have been taller than twice as tall as the Burj Khalifa. Future effects of climate change and rising sea levels were considered when designing the skyscraper. The centerpiece of this futuristic development would be the SkyMile skyscraper. On its own, that would have been a megacity. In order to explore and create potential solutions to Tokyo's population issue, as well as the increasing sea levels, Tokyo 2045 was launched in 2015. The goal of Tokyo 2045 was to build a megacity that was robust, self-sufficient, and sustainable. With the extremely limited amount of developable ground in the city, could endure natural disasters like earthquakes, tsunamis, and typhoons. The development of artificial islands over Tokyo Bay is part of the plan for the city of Tokyo in 2045. It is anticipated that the skyscraper itself will have more than 400 stories and have the capacity to house up to 55,000 people at once. The hexagonal design of the SkyMile towers serves more than just aesthetic reasons. Prior to the project's planning and design, significant wind tests and simulations were performed. The tower's enormous height vertical slots along the same hexagonal shape was discovered to have the strongest resistance to strong winds offered. It was also planned for high-altitude winds to sweep through the tower's length. The availability of water to individuals on upper floors was one of the difficulties that the project initially ran into during the design stage. It was determined that pumping water all the way from the bottom to the top would have been both expensive and impractical. As a result, the SkyMile Tower has the ability to collect and treat rainwater. Atmospheric vapor underneath the tower hexagonal structures will also be built, some of which might even be ports for arriving freight and passenger ships. These structures are intended to decrease the impact of waves coming from the Tokyo Bay, as well as serve as artificial islands on their own. Additionally, there are plans to grow algae in these structures and the nearby salt water for use as a fuel source for SkyMile. By 2045, construction on the tower and the futuristic city it surrounds should be complete. The project nonetheless continues. Up till now, only a concept proposal has existed. Nothing much has changed in reality. Construction has started. Before moving on to the following absurdly tall mega project. Squarespace is to be commended for sponsoring. With Squarespace, you can build your own website quickly and easily. It only took us a few hours to build our own top-tier luxury website using Squarespace adaptable templates and design tools. However, Squarespace isn't just about building websites. For instance, they have strong internal tools that vastly enhance functionality. We can automatically schedule articles regarding new mega projects thanks to their blogging platform, which we use. We can share YouTube videos as articles on our websites anytime we submit them. Their website's analytics function offers us insightful data. Who is accessing our website and, overall, how are they interacting with our material? The best platform to engage with and develop your business is Squarespace. Their audience visit squarespace.com to get a free trial. Visit squarespace.com when you're ready to launch. Ultimate luxury with a 10% discount. Your first purchase of a domain name or website. We now go on to the Aeropolis 2001, which is comparable to the Sky City 1000 from earlier. The visionary proposal known as Aeropolis 2001 was first put forth in 1989, when the value of Japanese assets was at its highest. 2,000-meter tall bubble that is more than 500 floors tall. The Aeropolis would have served as the century's emblem. If Tokyo were ever finished, it would be modeled after Chicago's mile-high skyscraper, which was designed by a visionary in Illinois. A showcase proposal was the Aeropolis 2001. Obayashi Corporation's cutting-edge research and technology. A supporter of the project, the skyscraper would have been built in the Tokyo Bay on an artificial island with a diameter of around 700 meters, a few kilometers off the coast, and could have housed up to 140,000 people. A high-speed shuttle elevator that would transport occupants from the bottom floor to the highest floor in just 15 minutes is also envisioned for Aeropolis 2001. The project will cost a staggering $330 billion and take at least 60 years to complete. The following enormous mega project. The Shimizu Mega City Pyramid is on our list. Standing tall at 2,004 meters above the ground, with an 8 square kilometer total floor area. The Great Pyramids of Giza served as inspiration for the Shimizu Mega City Pyramid, which would be the largest man-made edifice ever built. The gigantic project is designed to withstand the test of time and outperform any and all potential natural calamities. In a way, Shimizu Corporation, an engineering company, the project's promoter, is no stranger to grandiose and futuristic construction plans. They have also discussed ideas for projects including developing an underwater metropolis and constructing a power plant on the moon's surface. The 204 smaller, individual pyramids would be piled on top of one another to form the larger pyramid. The pyramid's greater structure, which would really be hollow, would work as a superstructure for buildings with 100 stories. That would be constructed inside the outer pyramid would act as a barrier, able to withstand hurricane-force winds, earthquakes, and even tsunami waves. Intentionally hollow in design, the pyramid allows wind and water to easily travel through. Its entire energy is absorbed by the structure. The entire mega project would be entirely self-sufficient and able to house up to 1 million people. On the trusses of the building, a solar film is intended to be applied in order to produce electricity. Sun energy and the complete pyramid. The pyramid will be able to produce energy using the wind, and robots and automated systems are planned to maintain the structure using wave energy technologies. Synthetic intelligence. In fact, the sheer magnitude of this mega project is so enormous that it cannot be built using the technology and building materials available today. Without the risk of the entire building falling under its own weight, the Shimizu Mega City Pyramid cannot be constructed. The project depends on strong, lightweight experimental materials like graphene becoming available in the future. The Mega City Pyramid's initial building schedule called for it to get underway by 2030. But since then, little real construction or organized planning has taken place. Still, the concept was originally put forth. Shimizu still has hope for their project's future and wants to finish building the pyramid by the year 2110. The enormous over 4,000 mega project is up next. A hypothetical skyscraper called the XZ4000 was conceived of and created in 1995. The building is supposed to imitate Japan's fabled Mount Fuji in terms of architecture. In the event that the XZ4000 were ever finished to a height of 4,000 meters. In fact, it would have surpassed Mount Fuji in height and taken its place as the nation's highest point. The structure could have held 1 million permanent occupants and had a total of 700 levels. Residents of this hypothetical tower may stay for years without ever leaving, effectively turning it into a megacity. The structure would feature a full range of amenities and services of its own. One intriguing design element for the XZ4000 was the requirement for dynamically pressurized chambers on higher floors in order to prevent altitude sickness comparable to that experienced in an airplane cabin. The fourth mega project on our list is the Insane Tower. It is also purposefully constructed to have openings along the length of the structure to allow for winds to circulate around the building and not put too much pressure on the foundations. The biblical Tower of Babel served as the model for the Tokyo Tower of Babel. The Tokyo Tower of Babel, which soars 10,000 meters above the ground, is the tallest and most ambitious structure ever created. The building would have been more than a kilometer taller than Mount Everest, making it not only the world's tallest building, but also the tallest thing on Earth's surface. Japanese architect and engineer Toshio Ojima from Waseda University first conceived of the Tokyo Tower of Babel in 1992. The tower was a visionary idea designed to provide self-sustaining archaeology for up to 30 million people. Although it's extremely doubtful, due to its enormous scale, the base for the entire project alone would have been as large as 4,100 square kilometers, approximately twice the size of the entire Tokyo metropolitan region. That the construction on this facility would ever truly begin. According to estimates, the Tokyo Tower of Babel could have held up to $22 trillion, or around a fourth of the global GDP. In addition, it was predicted that the project would take up to 150 years to complete. Tokyo's population is still quite closely clustered together. It should come as no surprise why the city made the proposal. Despite the inherent difficulties that the country faces with periodic earthquakes and tsunamis, there are so many of these ridiculous megaprojects. What absurd megaprojects do you believe would ever be built? Japanese architects and engineers have perfected the art of building structures that can endure the wrath of nature. How do you envision the skyscrapers of the future looking? Know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.